All right. How you guys doing today? I finally got my wits about me now. I was tired as could be when I got here, and slept mostly all day yesterday, and almost all night last night too. Me and Selena were able to get some things settled, and I believe with God's grace, we are going to be able to move forward. Um, I thank for that. Um, and I guess we'll see where that takes us. She's getting baptized Sunday. Um, Very close friend of mine, Teddy Bear, is doing the baptism. That's the best news you heard all day. Oh boy, yeah, she is getting baptized Sunday, and we are we were working that were going on. There was a lot of aggravation, a lot of hostility, a lot of uh, things that happened before we left, which actually I think in some weird way, I think is going to end up causing us to get closer than we were before, which is even better. We've talked about some things we're going to try to do with the ministries, um, and with the YouTube channel. We're going to set certain times and dates. These morning devotions should be done every day, and they will be, but they'll be a lot shorter. Sour Diesel, how are you? They'll be a lot shorter. They'll be simple morning devotions, and I'm gonna do that every morning, probably less than 30 minutes. Um, and then we plan on doing complete sermons starting Sunday, and we're going to do that every Sunday, which is going to put me where I really need to. I need to be where I actually need to be anyway. And then we're going to have, starting tonight, we're going to have Bible studies. We're going to try to do around the same time, just like a church does. We're going to do sermons on Sundays and Bible studies on Wednesdays. Bible or the services on Sundays. There won't be any chat. Of course, you'll be able to chat yourselves, but I'll have the chats turned off on my side, so it's not a discussion type thing. It's just what God leads me to talk about at that time. Just like you would at church, you wouldn't. Well, generally, you wouldn't get up and um, engage in a conversation with the pastor on Sunday morning during service. So we're going to do that. Yes. To find the devotion, ask the questions. That part of it, very true. That'll be on Wednesday nights. We're gonna do Bible study, and the questions that we get will determine what the Bible study is the next week. The topics that we talk about, the things that we talk about. So days after a after we start doing the Bible study, and at the end when we have questions, that will be y'all will be determining what I am studying on to get ready for the next week. So, but devotions will be devotions every morning. We'll try to get them every morning, and then these little talks like we're doing now, and hanging out, and um, yes, ministers don't know the answer; they find the answer in the Bible and discuss and learn. Yes, and that's what I'm talking about on Wednesdays. The questions after the Bible study, the questions are going to be there to be discussed the next week, or any topics that we run into that we need to study more on to give um, to give complete fairness to the way it's put and the way it's said and what it is. Um, Devotions will go on as normal, but these chit chats like we're doing now, those will be separate. With the exception, of course, on Wednesdays we will read and discuss what we're reading to learn a typical Bible study, and things that if we're not sure of or we don't understand it right then and we need more clarity, it'll be next week. Matter of fact, tonight's we're going to start in the sixth chapter of Matthew's, um, somewhere around the where it was at the 25th verse. We're going to go on through there. That's going to be our Bible study this evening. When Selena gets done at work, she's working up at the office, and when she gets done at work, probably around seven or so this evening, we'll do that. But the walk with God has all of the personal stuff between us, and us chit chatting and everything else. Those are not going to be involved with the message on Sunday and the Bible study. I'm going to try to separate them. Hey, Joyce, how's it going? But and we'll have those, and those will be as normal, that are not scheduled, and they are at any given time. I have no idea whenever I feel like getting on there. Uh, we're going to start laying out definite times on the deal, because it is very apparent that I spend a certain amount of time trying to get a message out there, and then I get caught up in the chats, and I get caught up in the sometimes the positive conversation, sometimes the negative conversation, sometimes the the drama of others, and I get caught up in all of that, and then I don't finish the message, and then I leave everybody kind of hanging with a half a message. and it doesn't really work that way great. So we're going to treat Sunday mornings, and we're thinking about Sunday. I'm not sure whether to do it Sunday or to do it Saturday, but those will be, once we set it, we're going to set a schedule. So within the week, we'll have a schedule down that we will have them things going on. Let's see, what else was I going to talk to you about? The trip was awesome. The trip back was awesome. For those of you that got a chance to see the videos, I got as much as I could on the paintings and stuff there at the Denver airport. Nick Wells, he come out and visited with us again. I rather enjoyed that. Robert wasn't able to make it. His daughter was not feeling well, which I hope and pray that she's feeling better now. Yes, there's a lot of Masonic symbols. And somebody made a comment on one of the videos, and it didn't escape my my knowledge or my seeing it, but I did see the patterns in the floor, and they are a little disturbing. That they would do the whole airport in patterns like that, and the Masonic symbols that were on the time capsule slab was rather disturbing. The one mural that I did a video on that had all of the hidden pictures in it, and had the funeral going out there and stuff, that you really kind of have to, I don't know, you'd have to understand the artist in order to understand what they're doing there. But I don't know, that was creepy. That one just kind of didn't understand exactly what the artist was getting at. Hold on a second. Okay, I might try to get the window shut. That cold air is a little cold. Anyway, yeah, there's a lot of weird things at that airport. But I didn't see anything that was too majorly weird. The paintings, yes, they were very strange, but everything else seemed to work just fine. There's a lot of construction there, and from what I've seen from videos, there's always construction there. And there's always sections that are... I did run into a weird situation. There was one part there that was sectioned off that had petitions up and stuff, and when it looked like a work crew that was going in there was going in, I was walking through there and noticed that when they had opened it, now this is the construction part, but they had armed security guards back there. And that one kind of had me scratching my head. Was they were in a place that I wouldn't think, and they weren't TSA agents or anything. They were actually just like armed security guards or officers of some sort. And bringer and carrier. There's a lot of symbols in there, Mason and satanic. There aren't worshiping him, but the knowledge is Bible states Lucifer is bringer and carrier of light. The bringer and the carrier of light. Okay. All right. Well, Where does it say that? I'm sitting there thinking. I'm trying to think of that. I've heard it mentioned a few times in different ways like that, but I've never actually. I don't think I caught on to it. I may have read over it, but I've never really caught on to that. So whereabouts is that? So that I can look it up myself before I actually try to give any kind of intelligent discussion about that. Anyway, if you can find that out, I'll definitely look it up and read on it. But we all fall short at times, and we all do and say things that is hurtful to another. Okay, I'll have to. All right, I'll look that one up. We all do and say things that are hurtful to one another, but like the Bible says, we shouldn't judge another. And only have one comment to make on the thing that everybody was talking about as far as one comment to make. I know firsthand what it feels like to have everything taken from you and be kicked out. I know because that happened from them. So, if Lewis is watching, I want him to know that he is in my prayers, that everything works out okay, because I don't want anybody to feel that kind of aggravation, that kind of pain, and that kind of torment. It isn't right. And the Bible says to pray for your neighbors. It says to love your neighbors. It says to pray for your enemies. So, as far as all the as far as the comments that I've gotten about that, I do understand exactly what I understand what he's going through. So I pray that all of us can pray for the situation that he's in, and pray that everything works out right, that he doesn't have to feel the pain of and the loss that I know what it feels like. And I know several of y'all know what that feels like. And I don't wish any harm whatsoever to any of them. Well, if that's the case, then we still need to pray for him. Maybe pray that he sees the right direction that he needs to go in, and pray for his circumstances. And that's really all I have to say about that one. I have nothing negative to say, and I don't want to discuss much more of it. It is still a very touchy subject for me, because I do miss my home, and I do miss everything that I worked hard for a while, and I do miss that. And that when you have that, it's the devil's way of trying to build up hatred and build up anger in your heart. And I think God let me go through that to show me what he was trying to show me. And he's trying to show me love. And there's one thing that I've noticed in the Bible, that Jesus taught in every which way, whether it was through healing, or through speeches, through sermons, or through any of that. He taught love. He was a man that was full of love. In order for us to be Christians, we must strive to be Christ-like. And if that man was here with nothing but love for everyone, that includes people that do him wrong, if that's the way that he was, so in order to be Christian, we must be Christ-like. So therefore, we should handle the same situations with love. The same way me and Selena sat down and talked our differences out, and now we understand things a little differently. She has a grudge against me being on YouTube a lot because I was on YouTube excessive amount, and I had a grudge because of lack of support. But we were able to sit down and with love, sit down and explain our differences and explain our thoughts on it and strive to become closer to the ability of being evenly yoked. So, all right. What did I miss? Right. Well, we are not set here on earth to condemn one another. We certainly wasn't. Even Jesus said himself that he wasn't put here to condemn us, but rather save us. So if he wasn't here to condemn us, and that was God's Son, then we have no business condemning anyone. We have no business speaking ridicule against somebody else when we have sin in our own life. The comment was made the other day about me and Selena. Aren't y'all in adultery? Aren't y'all in sin? Yes, we are. And we are working on fixing that situation. There was comments made against me on spreading God's word, and there was conversations about that, and they were coming from people that were living in sin themselves. Bottom line is we have no business judging each other. We have no business trying to point out someone else's sin as an individual when we have sin in our own life. If I do a message or a sermon or whatever you want to call it, and it is directed towards one certain sin or another, it is a message that God wants relayed. It is teaching his word. But for me to call out a certain individual and tell them, and ridicule them for the sin, that would be sin in itself. Now, educating them is different. Educating them is very different. Yes, ma'am, Miss Mary, I sure will. And today is, isn't it? No, it's Thursday, isn't it? When's Thanksgiving? Okay, what was that again? One to five. And therefore the Lord knew how the Jesus baptized more disciples than John. Did Jesus baptized not, but his disciples lectured there and divided again together. And we must need to go through Samaria. And come to the city of Samaria, which is called and therefore knew how Pharisees had heard that Jesus made. Am I reading the wrong John? That pertains to what maybe I'm reading the wrong one. Yeah. Love, not every spirit, but try the spirits whether they are of God. Because many false prophets have gone out into the world. Hereby may be the Spirit of God. Every spirit that confesseth that Jesus Christ has come in the flesh is of God, and every spirit that confesses not that Jesus Christ is come in the flesh is not God. And every spirit, therefore, you have heard that it shall come, and even now already is in the world. Ye are of God, little children, and have overcome them, because greater is he that is in you than he that is in the world. That is such a great verse. Greater is he that is in you than he that is in the world. They are of the world, therefore speak them of the world, and the world heareth them. Everyone's being tested every day. Okay, I missed a bunch on this. Hold on just a second. Okay, hold on. Wow, boy, did I miss a lot. All right. Happy Turkey Day. Thanksgiving's today? Is it really? I thought it was Thursday. I thought it was, yeah, it's supposed to be tomorrow. Oh, man, I got my days mixed up again. Man, I get lost in a circle. I think this is kind of what is going on. People are testing you, maybe. Yeah, people test me. They test me a lot. But, you know, It is like that said. Greater is the Spirit of God that is within me. And how is it said? It's greater is He that is in you than he that is in the world. You know, beloved, believe not every spirit, but try the spirits, whether they are God. You know, you may be right. You know, maybe they are just testing me. And you know, I have never, you know, I've never really actually mentioned too much about the things between me and Selena. You know, I'm not. We aren't married yet. We do plan on it. I do plan on her pretty soon, actually. Checking out any Black Friday sales. Okay, I'm way behind, so I'm Indian check today. Okay. All right, but anyway, I want to mention that again since we've got several people in there. There's been a lot of things that were brought to my attention and a lot of things that we are working on. And we are not perfect by no means, but neither is anyone else. And it is not right for us to sit back and ridicule each other because of something you've heard in a different chat or because of anything like that. Especially, you know, look at the way Jesus handled things when he was here on earth. He stood up for the ones that nobody would stand up for. He had in his company people that and that most people would never have in there around them. And in doing that, he became way more effective when it came to souls, I get put it, because he showed pure leopards and whores. Yes, he did have a whore. He did have one that washed feet for him and praised him repeatedly. He had thieves. He had leopards. He had all of the ones that everyone tells you, oh, stay away, don't get around them. Those are the ones that he ministered his word to. Those are the ones he showed healing to. Those are the ones that really got to see the awesome love of God. And, you know, it shows that we aren't perfect. But if we have the Spirit of God within us, then we have love. If you're speaking ridicule against your neighbor and you are gossiping about this one or that one and you are doing things that are obviously not within love, then you have to ask yourself, how strong is that Spirit of God that is within you? And is it within you? Starting a new camp. Matter of fact, we were talking about that, me and Selena. We are going to go to Arizona. It's not going to be right away, but we are going there eventually. We want to build a new camp. We want to build a sanctuary of sorts. And that very well may be something that we do. The washing of the feet is a sacred ceremony that you never see done anymore. I've seen it done when I was a kid, but I've never seen it done anymore. And it is a very humbling experience. Um, I believe that that is the example that Jesus showed to us. The example of being humble, the example of being with a loving heart. Would I wash Adobe's feet? If he come to me and needed his feet washed, yes, I would. I'm not above that. I'm not above anything. I'm not above washing anyone's feet. Well, back in them days, they washed the feet of the people that they cared about. They didn't wear shoes back then. They walked around in the dirt and in the mud and the filth, and that was kind of the equivalent of taking people's shoes off. Taking your shoes off. You get home, you kick off your shoes, and you relax. Well, back then they would take their sandals off and wash their dirty feet. And Mary Magdalene got in there and had so much thankfulness in her because of the love that Jesus showed to her. That to thank him, she would take something that they took very, very seriously. The beauty of a woman's hair was what measured their beauty back then. And she would take her hair to wash his feet. Now that says something about that guy. That says something very, very big. It says something that is beyond anything that we're going to understand. We might come close, but a lot of us won't understand it. I only understand it partly, and I've already a very valuable blessing from it. A very valuable lesson from it. Let's see. Holy bleach water. We can make that. Yes, you probably could. The way they make holy oil or holy water, that is in a tabernacle or a room and pray for hours and days, weeks, months, sometimes years, depending on where you get it from and how much prayer they put in it. But that's where we receive holy water and holy oil and things like that from generally. Now, I got my holy oil, as y'all call it, from some people that proclaim it was that it was coming out of the Bible. Now, I never watched the levels change, so I can't verify anything, but I can verify this. The feeling that I got when I touched that oil, when I reached in to touch that Bible, was most definitely of God. It was the calmest, no worries, just ease. the calmest feeling I've ever felt. And I only felt it one time before that. And that was when I was baptized again. When I was baptized there with Teddy Bear before the trip. I felt it then, and then I felt it when I touched the oil. And it was not one that makes the hair on the back of your neck stand up and make you want to jump up and run circles around a trailer or something, or a church or whatever. You blessed your joint? Okay, well. Anyway, it wasn't one of those feelings. It was a feeling of easement, that there was no concerns, no worries. That was God's way of telling me, hey, I got this. Don't worry about nothing. And I thank God for every time that He has showed me anything like that. So I can't verify on anything when it comes to the oil, but I can verify that that it is. Are you ordained? Yes. I can verify that the presence of God was there. When I touched that oil, the presence of God was most definitely there, without a shadow of a doubt in my mind. Speaks of weed on the, well, no, not just weed. In Genesis 1, it talks about every seed-bearing plant was here for our use. And that is every plant. For medicinal uses, for uses for food, for uses for, and yes, I did get it online. Yes, I did. But does that change anything? Does that change the Spirit of God that is within me? Does that change the love I have for God? No, it doesn't. So you can just marry? No, I can do marriages. I can do funerals. I can do baptisms. I can preach at a church. I mean, the ordainment and where the ordainment comes from, as far as the paper here, this thing here, as far as where that ordainment comes from, that doesn't matter. The ordainment, exorcist, well, yeah, imagine if I knew how. I'm not trying that one. How long did it take to get? Not long at all. We had to do a few things with it, and it was actually very, very easy to obtain. But anyway, the ordainment from God to do things is the most important. That right there is just a paper. But the ordainment from God is not that on any paper. When God tells you to get out and spread His word and you obey, He blesses you. When He says, to go pray for this one and you obey, he blesses them and you. Just like when God says, hey, feed this person, and you feed them, you end up blessed. You end up fed. No matter what God asks you to do, and you obey him, then you have been ordained by him to do that. So, the people that have the least give the most, yes. And that's not the way it should be. Well, thank you very much. I definitely need the prayer. I need the prayer. God, he lets you go through certain trials to show you what exactly he is trying to show you. Sometimes he lets you get hurt to show you I don't know, show you how to do things or where you're wrong for what you do. Or Joko, how's Selena doing? She is doing great. She is up working at the office right now. Oh, Robin. I thought that's who I was seeing in there. And happy Thanksgiving to everyone. Give thanks to God, first of all. Give thanks to your brother. Give thanks. Give thanks that you are alive for yet another day. You could do our sermon. Well, that is a very, very flattering offer, and I would love for you to be there. But when we get ready to, I already have the minister in mind. The only one that I have ever really considered as my preacher other than God, and that would be Mr. James. He definitely has the screen. He has every bit of my respect in every which way. So unfortunately, I have to turn you down on that offer. I do appreciate the offer very much so, and I would love it if you're there for it. But we still have a lot of work left to do before we cross that bridge. And when I do, no matter where I'm at, Teddy Bear is to do it. So anyway, like I was saying, give thanks to everybody. And any of I know we all love our leftovers for Thanksgiving. Keep in mind, there are people that would love to get part of it. Find somebody that isn't getting a Thanksgiving and maybe make them a plate. Bring it to them. Their day. Spread the love that God shows us. spread the love that Jesus was spreading. No, I don't. I'm not able to do Thanksgiving week. We couldn't afford to do that. So Thanksgiving is all in the heart and all in the mind. My Thanksgiving, a pot of what we call dirty rice, which is a Cajun dish. I'm fixing to get in there and clean and make. Not clean. I'm fixing to get in there and